Airport thieves can spot an easy target from 50 feet away, and you're probably making 3 mistakes right now that scream, "Rob me." Today I'll show you 11 easy things that you can do to make thieves immediately move on to easy targets. And number 8 will completely change how you think about airport safety. Let's start with something that sounds almost too simple to work, but it's an incredibly powerful habit to make. Every time you sit down or stop moving at the airport, do a quick 5-second scan of your surroundings. Identify anyone acting suspicious or looking at you. Mentally note where your belongings are. And it's even not a bad idea to always look for your nearest exit. This isn't about being paranoid, it's just about being aware. This works because thieves are constantly watching for travelers who are oblivious to their surroundings. And when you make a habit of doing that quick sweep, you're sending a clear signal that you're alert and paying attention. Thieves see this and think to themselves, this person will notice if I try to do something. So they move on to someone else who's completely zoned out scrolling on their phone. This next one might surprise you, and I want you to think about what you would do in the situation. Let's say someone approaches you at the airport or really any time during your trip and they just seem a little bit off. Maybe they're asking for directions or trying to sell you something, or they're just lingering near you. What would you do? If you want to avoid problems, I recommend doing the exact opposite of what your body is probably telling you to do, and that is to stare them directly in the eyes. Give them the old death stare. Stare into their soul. Thieves absolutely hate this because eye contact means that you can identify them later, and it shows that you're confident and paying attention. Most people, including myself, instinctively look away when they feel uncomfortable. But that actually signals to a thief that you're an easy target who won't cause problems. I have a female friend who was once walking alone down an empty street in Detroit. She noticed that a blue SUV passed her on the road, and then further down the road turned around and passed her again, and then turned around behind her and passed her again, and it was coming up behind her. So she turned toward the SUV, looked straight into the window, puffed herself up and said, "What?" And the SUV skidded away. If she'd been staring at her phone or acting timid or small or scared, this story could have ended way differently. This obviously didn't happen at the airport, but the same psychology applies. Your posture and the way you move through the airport tells thieves everything they need to know on whether or not you're worth targeting. Stand up straight, walk with a purpose, and avoid looking lost, confused, or sleepy, even if you are. I see travelers all the time standing in the middle of the walkways, spinning around in circles, looking around frantically, and it's like putting up a neon sign for thieves that says, "I'm disoriented and distracted and vulnerable." Of course, if you're at the airport overnight, it's impossible to stay alert all the time if you need to rest or sleep. In that case, I always like to thread my bag strap through my arm or my leg, or even clip it to a belt loop or a chair so that no one can sneak off with it while I'm sleeping. Make sure to like and subscribe for more tips on how to travel smarter and safer. Next up is to always be in the ready position. Just kidding, that's not the ready position. The opposite of the ready position would be that traveler who's juggling their phone, coffee, boarding pass, passport, and 3 different bags all at the same time. Thieves love seeing travelers with their hands full because it means you can't react quickly if something happens, and more likely you won't even notice if something happens because you're too distracted. Think about it. If someone tries to pickpocket you, what are you going to do if your hands are full? You're either not even going to notice, or you're gonna drop everything and create chaos, which is exactly what thieves want. The ready position is especially important when going through airport security, when everyone's already dealing with taking off your belts and your shoes and the bins and the TSA agents screaming down your neck. Here, thieves often work in pairs. One person creates a distraction or does something to hold up the line, while the other person grabs the items from the travelers who are too busy juggling all their stuff to notice, or whose stuff is waiting out in the open unprotected on the other side of the x-ray machine where they can't see it. That's why before I even get to the front of the security line, I zip up all of my valuables and all my stuff on my interior zipper pockets of my vest or in my fanny pack, and then I wrap that fanny pack in my jacket so I can put it in the bin where it's safe from sticky fingers. No valuables are out in the open. I know exactly where everything is, and I don't feel pressured or rushed to organize everything at the bins with a line of people waiting behind me. This is more important than ever now that we're traveling with a baby and there's so much more to think about and stuff to account for. Speaking of knowing where everything is, this applies to more than just the security line. Before you move to any new location in the airport, whether you're getting out of your seat or leaving the bathroom or leaving the charging station, spend 5 seconds to confirm that all of your items are secure and accounted for. I learned this the hard way after accidentally leaving my brand new iPhone out on a table in the lounge charging, forgetting it behind, walking all the way across to my gate on the other side of the airport before I realized it was gone and then having to sprint back. Luckily, it was still there. Now I always do a quick mental inventory every single time I move. Passport, wallet, phone, laptop, or any other valuables I'm carrying. This habit has saved me multiple times from leaving things behind, but it also sends a signal to anyone watching that I'm organized and aware of my belongings. Thieves are looking for travelers who are scattered and disorganized because those are the travelers that aren't going to realize anything is gone until it's too late. Next up is another one that we learned the hard way, and it's that airport thieves come in all shapes and sizes, and some of them are actually lingering outside of the airport. A few years ago, Diane and I arrived in Chile late at night to do some hiking in Patagonia. We didn't have an internet connection, which was our first mistake, so we just grabbed a taxi to our Airbnb address. For such a small town, it seemed like it was taking a long time to get to our place, but we were exhausted and we weren't thinking clearly. When we finally arrived, I logged into the Airbnb's Wi-Fi and checked Google Maps, and that 25-minute ride we just took was supposed to only take 7 minutes. He was driving in circles, running the meter up, but we didn't realize it because we didn't have data on our phones to check the map. Nowadays, before leaving home, I always take 2 minutes to set up a travel eSIM on my phone so that I'm connected from the moment that I land in my destination. With an eSIM, I can use rideshare apps instead of relying on potentially sketchy taxi drivers. I can look up public transportation info. I can look up the currency conversion and fair prices so that drivers don't overcharge me. And I can always call for help using a messenger app or even share my location if something feels wrong. I currently use Olafly's unlimited data eSIMs when I travel, and they were kind enough to sponsor this video. Olafly is available in over 200 destinations, and unlike some other eSIM companies, they focus on unlimited data plans so that you won't run out in sketchy situations when you need it the most. You can grab a discount on your Olafly eSIM today using the link in the description and entering code PROJECTUNTETHERED at checkout. The next way to avoid theft at the airport is to strategically choose where you sit to wait. You want areas that are just right, not too busy and chaotic where you'll get distracted, but also not too dead where there are no witnesses around. Super busy areas like right in front of the security checkpoints or in a crowded food court can actually work against you because there's so much chaos that thieves can operate without you noticing. But completely empty areas like those far off gates at the very far end of the terminal also aren't great because there might not be anyone around to help if something happens. Instead, look for areas with moderate foot traffic where people are settled and paying attention, like gate areas next to flights that are boarding soon, or seating areas near popular restaurants, or my favorite, the lounge, which I get free access to with my credit card. Next is to never appear alone or vulnerable because there's power in numbers, and obviously you might be thinking, what if you're traveling alone? Well, one obvious solution is to tag along with other groups of travelers. If you're off sitting in the corner by yourself, it's pretty obvious that you're a loner. But if you set up shop near another solo traveler, or better yet, a family, you give the illusion that you're not alone. And you may even make a friend. But if you're too shy to talk to strangers, at least you'll have witnesses nearby that'll make a thief think twice before messing with you. Thieves prefer isolated targets, not people who have others looking out for them. Before we get into the Anti-Papaya Method, I wanted to let you know that I created a free download with all the travel scams that you should be aware of and be looking out for once you get to your destination, and you can grab that down in the description. In Colombia, they have a saying, no dar papaya, which basically means don't show your valuables. Now, I'm not saying to be overly paranoid or scared in the airport and think that you can't take out your laptop to do some work or something, but just know in the back of your head that the less thieves can see what you have, the less of a target you'll be. It's pretty simple. This applies at the airport as well as in your destination. Don't flash expensive watches or jewelry or electronics if you don't need to. Keep those wads of cash hidden in your pockets. Don't leave your iPhone 30 setting out in the open on the table where anyone can see it. The goal isn't to live in fear here, it's just to avoid advertising what you have to people who might want to take it from you. If you do happen to take out anything important, it's helpful to make a habit of touching your critical items to make sure that they're all still secure in your designated pockets. I pretty much do this unconsciously now, and every 10 or 15 minutes, I'll just pat to make sure everything's where it should be. This serves two purposes. First, you'll immediately know if anything goes missing, and it also shows potential thieves that you're monitoring your valuables. There is a catch-22 though, and you might even be thinking about it right now. Obviously, if you're touching your back pocket all the time, you're signaling to thieves that that's where your wallet is. The solution to that is to not put valuable things in pockets that are easy to pickpocket. All of my valuables are either in an interior pickpocket-proof zipper pocket or in an anti-theft fanny pack that's literally locked to my body. There's one big exception to taking out that fancy phone of yours and showing potential thieves. One time my wife Diane was walking around by herself on the streets in Portugal when a man came up and stopped at a really weird random spot and took out his phone and started taking selfies with her in the background. This wasn't a normal place where a normal person would stop to rest or stop to take a selfie, so it set off Diane's alarm bells. As someone who basically raised herself as a little girl in the dangerous hoods in Cali, Colombia, Diane has a sixth sense that's just off the charts. She immediately whipped out her phone, took a picture of the man, making it super obvious, and then quickly sent me a text message of the picture and her location. Fortunately, as soon as she did this, the guy took off. Again, this happened outside of the airport in our destination, but the same concept applies inside the airport. I'm not saying to become the airport paparazzi or anything, but if someone is making you uncomfortable or acting a little bit suspicious, a quick photo of them can make them back off immediately. In fact, there are actually certain hotspot areas throughout the airport that thieves know travelers are their most vulnerable and they're actively hunting for the next victim. To learn where in the airport thieves like to choose their victims, watch this video next. Some of these hotspots are a bit unexpected and may surprise you. Let's subscribe, do the things. Love you. Bye-bye.